We just getting started, baby. Did anybody see what Mr. Wardell Steph Curry did to the Portland Trailblazers? They were nobodies. They beat the Giants. Trash. They beat the Broncos. Trash. If you ever watched Dragon Ball Z, my man's was Super Saiyan. I couldn't wear this until we actually caught a dub. And he did all of this damage in 36 minutes. Let that sink in. They beat the Eagles, trash. The Cowboys, trash. The Bengals, trash. The Jaguars, trash. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here on Rob's 2 Cents. My good people, my good people. Hello, world. I'd like to welcome you guys back to the show that's hot with your boy Rob Scott. This is Rob's 2 Cents, baby. What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are good. Hope you guys had a great week last week. Enjoyed your weekend. Made it productive. Also got some relaxation in. I just hope you guys had an overall great weekend as we begin to say goodbye to the summertime. Don't feel like I really got to enjoy myself like I wanted to this summer, switching jobs and being like super busy, especially through the months of July and August. But we made it through. Got to have some good times this past weekend. We celebrated my cousin's birthday, 40th birthday, and I got to see my family. And it's been a while since I've, been around them, at least in the capacity of, you know, uh, enjoying each other's company. Um, you know, uh, COVID got, a lot of people shook, especially in my family. So, things starting to get back a little to normal. It was good to see my family and good to have fun with them this past Sunday. And man, can I just say, jam packed, action packed, sports filled weekend. I mean, we saw some great games. NBA is getting ready and revving back up to go back into its form. The NFL starting to ask some questions about certain teams, starting to see certain teams stand up and make statements. Also, boxing. Did we not see a classic bout in Fury versus Wilder 3? So much to talk about. Somebody's comments got them in trouble. I'm going to touch on that a little bit on this show too. So all my people out there watching this on a Tuesday, kick your feet up, sit back, relax. If you're in traffic on your early morning commute, make sure you have your cup of coffee. Keep both hands on the wheel. Keep both eyes on the road, and tune in to the hottest sports conversation in the nation. This is Rob's 2 Cents, and one of those things that I mentioned in my dialogue is that we have some questions about certain teams. And I do have some questions concerning the Kansas City Chiefs because we have to remember this is a team that has made it to the AFC Championship game 3 years in a row, a team that has been to back-to-back Super Bowls, a team that has won the Super Bowl and led by a quarterback who some have already said has had a Hall of Fame worthy career. But the jury is still out on the Kansas City Chiefs this season because right now they're 2-3 in their first 5 games of this NFL season. Can't say young anymore because now we're starting to get into the nitty gritty. Just leaving week 5, but Kansas City is 2-3. The teams that they've beaten are teams that have been struggling or have questions surrounding them, being the Cleveland Browns and being the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, the Cleveland Browns having their own quarterback issues. With Baker Mayfield, we don't know if that dynamic with him and Odell Beckham is gonna work. And then of course, with the Philadelphia Eagles, they are just trash. They hoping Jalen Hurts is able to turn the tide around for this team, but with all the injury that's been going on with this team, they're gonna be looking forward to next season. Let's just say that. But the teams that they've lost to, lost to playoff contenders, and these are going to be the teams that you're possibly going to have to play in the playoffs to get to the next round. I mean, they took a bad loss against the Baltimore Ravens, which was a great thriller of a game. I believe that was a Monday Night Football game. And the Chiefs and the Ravens just put on a spectacle. It took for a very record-breaking field goal to win the game. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, it didn't. It took for Lamar Jackson to run that game off. I'm thinking about Detroit versus the Ravens. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. But Lamar Jackson was just able to run all over the Kansas City Chiefs, turned his misfortunes around in the second half, and just showing why he's a former MVP. Then they lose to the Chargers. As you guys know, they have a great young quarterback over there in Justin Herbert. And, I mean, he's just been standing up. In that game, he threw 4 touchdowns, no interceptions against the Chiefs, just looking good. And then this past Sunday, they lost to who many have stated might be the best team in the AFC, and that would be the Buffalo Bills. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Buffalo Bills are for real, and it starts with that defense and it ends with Josh Allen. I mean, that defense was just all over the place against the Kansas City Chiefs, swarming the quarterback, only rushing 4, following that template that the Buccaneers have put forward in a way to beat Pat Mahomes, and that's not let anything go past you. Don't let anything go over your head. Keep everything in front of you. Take away that threat of Pat Mahomes with the deep ball game, because we know that the Kansas City Chiefs, they look for the home run. They look for it all. They try to get everything in one throw. And we know that Pat Mahomes can be a little bit unorthodox, and that is starting to be a little bit of a concern for this young quarterback, because when your defense is not up to par, when your defense it seems to be horrible. I mean, this defense with Kansas City, they can't stop anything. They can't stop anything. Let's be happy that this team is not a superhero, because they couldn't stop crime. I mean, you can do whatever you want against the Kansas City Chiefs. Hell, even the Eagles put up 30 points on this team. And we know that the Eagles are a team that has been struggling offensively. Kansas City, man, they need to reevaluate. Now, I know they have some injuries on that defense, but it comes down to effort. And some of the plays that we saw against the Buffalo Bills, it was just a lack of effort. I almost questioned, did they even care? I mean, they were able to get the game so close, and then you give up these home run shots to the Buffalo Bills. And I mean, Josh Allen had a game. Let's look at this game of Buffalo against Kansas City, in which Buffalo won 38-20, by the way. 38-20. Now, we know Kansas City tends to be a high-power offense, but that just shows you how good this Buffalo Bills defense is. Let's look at the Chiefs on the day. If we look at the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes had an okay game, but he threw the ball entirely too much. He had 54 pass attempts. That's too much for your quarterback. I don't care if you have Tom Brady mixed with Peyton Manning, mixed with a spiritual entity. That's too many times for your quarterback to throw the ball. He was 33 of 54. Only threw for 272 yards. Yes, he threw for 2 touchdowns, but he also threw 2 interceptions, one being a pick 6. Now, the pick 6 wasn't his fault. He did put the ball where it needed to go. Tyreek Hill, for some reason, couldn't catch the ball. Bounced right off of his chest, right into the defender's hand. He was able to make one spin move, get into the open field, and take it to the house. But there was one interception in particular, the defensive lineman, and when I tell you, they only was rushing 4. And they were still able to get some pressure put on Pat Mahomes. I mean, the Buffalo Bills defense was swarming like bees in the hive. I mean, they were everywhere. I mean, he was able to just stick his hands up, forced Pat Mahomes into a difficult decision. He threw the ball. He was able to get the interception right at the line of scrimmage. I mean, Buffalo, what more can you say? I'll tell you what more you can say. You want to know what Rob's 2 cents is? Josh Allen is for real. Josh Allen is the real deal. The man was 15 of 26 in the air for 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Doing it with his legs, just running all over the Kansas City Chiefs. As I mentioned, that defense lets you have whatever you want. He even gave you 11 carries for 59 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. What couldn't Josh Allen do against the Kansas City Chiefs? I mean, had Dawson Knox out there, that tight end, looking like Gronkowski back in the day, looking like Travis Kelce himself. 3 receptions, but those 3 receptions that he had, 117 yards, 1 touchdown, just being big play Knox all game. No, you got Stephon Diggs that he gave you 2 receptions for 69 yards. Do you see the trend that's going on? Emmanuel Sanders, 3 receptions for 54 yards, 2 touchdowns. Do you see the trend that is going on there? He was spreading the wealth. Everybody was getting passes. But what's the key thing in that? Even though they wasn't able to rush the ball with their running backs, Josh Allen did enough to keep the Kansas City Chiefs defense on their heels by running the ball, doing quarterback draws, extending the plays, running out of the pocket, making plays out of the pocket. Josh Allen just proving that he is a worthy MVP candidate. And the Buffalo Bills right now, don't look now, they're 4-1 this season, and they look to be making a statement as they are revved and primed and ready to make some noise in the postseason, to make a Super Bowl appearance, to bring the title back to Buffalo. Let's keep our eyes on the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen as he goes on his MVP campaign, and definitely keep our eyes on that defense, who right now is ranked in the top 5 defenses in the league. And you want to talk about somebody continuing to be great? We got to talk about Tom Brady. Yes, I know. Rob, you talked about Tom Brady since you brought back Rob's 2 cents. I just can't overstate enough the greatness of this man. So this is going to be quick because the man deserves his flowers. Mr. Tom Brady, right now, as you guys know, has the Buccaneers 4-1 on this young NFL season, on this mid-NFL season, I should say, against the Miami Dolphins. And yes, I know the Miami Dolphins are missing their starting quarterback and Tua Tagovailoa, who can never stay healthy. I know they're missing some key pieces on that team, but we are talking about a Dolphins team that was able to beat the Patriots. Don't know how they were able to pull that out, but they did beat the Patriots, and we saw what the Patriots did with Tampa Bay. Took them to the limit, gave them all that they wanted, gave them all that they could, and Tampa was barely able to sneak out of New England alive. Was not the case against Miami, though. We look at the whooping that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers put on them Dolphins, 45-17. I don't even want to talk about what the Dolphins did because they did little to nothing. We're going to talk about the greatness of Mr. Tom Brady, because Tom Brady has been in this league for, 20 years now? And Tom Brady, out of all of the accolades that this man has accomplished, out of all the records that this man has broken, he has finally done something that he's never done in his NFL career. And that was throw for over 400 yards for 5 touchdowns with no interceptions. Tom Brady was exceptional. Let's look at his box score, as you will. The man was 30 of 41 for 411 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, even gave you 13 yards on the ground. I mean, he was giving everybody the ball. Mike Evans had 6 receptions for 113 yards on the day, 2 touchdowns. AB, Antonio Brown, 7 receptions on the day, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. Even Giovanni Bernard say, I want to get some of this action. Had 2 receptions for 14 yards, 1 touchdown. Chris Godwin, 7 receptions for 70 yards, averaging 10 yards per play. Tom Brady got these boys out there playing. And it's just something about when you know you have a quarterback that's going to get the ball to you at the right time and put it in the right place where only I can receive that ball. You tend to play your heart out for this quarterback. Has just revitalized this organization. Tampa Bay, yet again, looking like your favorites to come out of the out of the NFC period, along with, like Arizona, along with the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, those are probably your top 3 teams in the NFC. Skip would want to add the Cowboys, but the Cowboys haven't shown me enough for me to say that they are a threat to win it all, at least win the NFC conference. Tom Brady continues to wow us. Remember, the man is 44 years old. The man is in his 20th season in the NFL. And what does he do on a random Sunday in week 5? The man goes for over 411 yards in the air, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Tom Brady, a.k.a. TB12, a.k.a. the GOAT, a.k.a. TB equal TDs. Tom Brady, that boy, cold. And I'm pretty sure Tom Brady has probably been hearing that almost his whole NFL career. Yes, indeed, Tom Brady. Continue to build your legend, my friend. And it's just funny because if the man quit today, he does go down as the GOAT. And that just shows you the work ethic, the will to win, the will to be the best set forth by this man here, that he already is a GOAT. He already has had 10 Super Bowl appearances. He's already won 7 Super Bowl titles, yet he still comes out and brings it every time. Kids, pay attention. Pay attention. And as we continue to go on with Rob's 2 cents, thank you for being with me so far. Let's talk a little boxing, because we saw a classic match this past Saturday at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, where all big fights go down. And we saw the trilogy come to an end between Tyson Fury and Deonte Wilder. And let me tell y'all something, man. This third fight gave you everything that you would want to see in a boxing match. If you want to see offensive strategy, you saw it. Tyson Fury had a great game plan. You could tell he came in, he stuck to his game plan, and was able to get the victory. If you wanted to see drama, you definitely saw this in this fight. I mean, at one point in time, we thought Deontay Wilder had done it. We thought he had miraculously bought the kill shot that was going to win him back his heavyweight championship. Then we saw Tyson Fury get up and rally and put Deontay Wilder on his butt. I mean, in the words of Jim Ross, this was a slobber knocker. I mean, if you wanted to see knockdowns, you saw it. If you wanted to see a knockout, you saw it. If you just wanted to see 2 big behemoths get in the ring and go to war, you saw it. Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury definitely lived up to expectations, definitely built up to the hype. It lived up to that. This fight was such a great fight. And again, we remember the first fight. A lot of people say Tyson Fury won. I am not one of those people. Yes, if the fight would have went down to the wire, and we're talking about just straight points, then yeah, Tyson Fury won had he not almost got knocked the hell out in that 11th round. Yeah, Tyson Fury, he clearly showed he was the better boxer. But I believe Deontay Wilder won that fight just due to the fact that the referee did not begin to count immediately. The referee did not begin to count right away. Tyson Fury is able to get a couple little extra seconds. Therefore, he was able to pop up before the 10 count. Fight ends in a draw. Second fight, Tyson Fury clearly outclassed this man. Outboxed him, outclassed him. Deontay Wilder, as we saw, was just not on Tyson Fury's level. Tyson Fury is in a whole nother class when it comes to heavyweight boxing. And he showed that as he continued to knock down Wilder time after time, bust that ear wide open, had him bleeding from the ear, had us believing that this man's eardrum was busted, had us believing he has to get rushed to the hospital because now what's going to happen to his equilibrium. I mean, beat him up so bad that his trainer threw in the towel. Yeah, so we know Fury clearly won that second fight. And we just kind of say Fury clearly won the third fight. However, Deontay Wilder bought it, man. If you want to talk about just straight up will, I mean, let's look at the first round. Deontay Wilder comes out trying to use a little bit of strategy. He said, I'm going to throw these stiff jabs out there. I'm going to throw them to the body. I'm going to try to get the big man tired. However, Deontay Wilder was tiring himself out because before the fight, as we all know, they said Deontay Wilder put on like an extra 20 pounds. So that means something, especially to an athlete that's especially to a boxer that's used to walking around at a certain weight. So if you know you're used to walking around at 220, 225, and then you step into the ring, you're at 230-something, 240-something, yeah, you're going to take some time to get used to, and you might have had to build up endurance for using that type of weight. You know, Tyson Fury already is a big guy, so he's able to come in a little heavier and able to move with that weight because he's used to having that weight on him. Deontay Wilder, again, using the jab, jabs to the body, then coming up, trying to take his head off. I mean, it was a good, interesting first round. As you could tell, they were both trying to read each other during the fight. But then we get to the third round. Boom! Fury delivers a right hook right to the ear. Boom! Knocked Wilder down. We knew he wasn't out, but you can just see early in that fight, in those earlier rounds, Deontay Wilder had kind of already tired himself out. I mean, he was breathing hard, sweating profusely. I mean, the guy looked like he was already spent, and we still got a whole nother 9 rounds to go. Then we get to the 4th round, and the Bronze Bomber proved that nickname right. Because, the bomb he threw that caught Tyson Fury, boom, Tyson able to get up. Boom, Fury puts him back down. Knocks Fury down twice in the 4th round. We're thinking it's over. Fury looked shocked. Fury looked hurt. Fury looked like he was trying to get his bearings. He needed to figure out that he was at Las Vegas, currently in the middle of a heavyweight title fight. I mean, that punch, that straight right from Wilder, as we know, is the difference maker. And he almost made the fight go to his advantage because, man, that bomb he threw at Fury, we thought he was down for the count. Fury's able to pop back up. Fury then proceeds to put on a boxing exhibition, beating the hell out of Deontay Wilder, beating him to every punch, leaning on him with that big 6'9" frame, just putting all that weight on Deontay Wilder, getting him even more tired, making the legs even more wobbly. And we saw in the 11th round, Deontay Wilder go down after a vicious right hook from Fury. Oh my God, down goes Wilder. Wilder went down twice in that round, but the referee didn't have to see any more. Actually, Wilder went down in the 10th, and then the 11th round finished him. When he got caught with that, you clearly saw that the lights was out. Fury fought a great fight. And, like I said, as far as heavyweights go, Fury is probably the most skilled heavyweight boxer fighting right now. Is going to go down as probably one of the best heavyweights to ever do it. I mean, Fury is just a monster of a man, and somebody with that size and that weight is not supposed to be able to move as quickly as he does, but Fury gets the job done. Now, the only thing I didn't like, Fury went over there to Wilder to try to shake his hand, congratulate him on such an excellent fight. Wilder wanted no parts of it. I understand, the theory of you show me a great loser and I'm going to show you a loser. I understand that theory. But even with that same token, with the fight that you gentlemen just put on, you could have shook his hand, Deonte, man. I understand though. Right then in the face of defeat, you're not trying to feel anybody. You're not trying to be friends with anybody. You just want to, go think about what could have been. And I'll tell you right now, if Wilder was in there with any other fighter, that would have been over. The fight would have been over in the fourth. If Wilder would have hit anybody else the way he hit Fury in that fourth round, fight would have been over with. Just a classic battle. I was watching Skip and Shannon earlier, as you know, doing my homework before my show. And they're definitely some credible guys who I trust their opinions on situations or matters dealing with in the sports world. And Shannon Sharp brought up a good point. Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier is the pinnacle of trilogy bouts. We'll probably never see a trilogy bout as big as that bout was. But if we're talking about trying to figure out the best trilogies that's ever happened, that probably is going to go down as probably top 5 best trilogy fights. I will have to agree with Mr. Sharp on that. That was a great fight. The energy was there. The stars were out. And, Tyson Fury serenaded the audience with a song at the end of the fight. He's just a good guy, somebody that you want to root for. I was just happy that we definitely got our money's worth in that fight. Couple of quick hitters before we end today's show. Russell Westbrook, as you know, made his debut for the Los Angeles Lakers October 8th, 2021 in a preseason game versus the Golden State Warriors, my Dub Nation people. Dub Nation, stand up. And it wasn't a good debut. I mean, he was 1 for 7 from the field, 6 turnovers, and then he turns around 2 days later against the Phoenix Suns in a blowout, I might add. I believe the Suns beat them, 123 to 80-something, 123 to 94. I mean, it was just a blowout. And again, in that game, Russell Westbrook say, I'll take the 6 turnovers I had in my first game as a Laker, and I'll raise you 3 more, as he had 9 turnovers in that game. He was 3 of 12 from the field. I mean, now, I was one who said I'm really interested to see how this dynamic is going to work. I was not ready to crown the Lakers NBA champions, even though those pictures look good, videos look good. You're seeing Russell Westbrook, you're seeing Rajon Rondo, you're seeing Melo, you're seeing LeBron, AD, Dwight. You're seeing a collection of talent there, and you're just like, man, can it be? Can Russell finally get over that hump and win his first ring? Can Melo finally win his first ring, make his first trip to the NBA final? Just some things to look out for, and right now it's not looking too good. Now, granted, we have not seen the big 3 all in action together, which I think is stupid because the preseason is only going to be, 4 games. You're going to want to see how your big 3 is going to mesh with each other. Because trust me, taking a dynamic player like Russell Westbrook, who's used to having the ball in his hand, who has a high ball usage rate, and then throwing him on a team with a LeBron James who needs the ball in his hand, who the team wants the ball in his hand because LeBron James is just going to make all the right decisions. It's kind of putting Russell Westbrook in a bit of a predicament, because now what are you going to do? Especially with him turning the ball over like this, I'm pretty sure the team is going to be looking at LeBron and say, hey, bro, we need you to take over the game. Get the ball out of Westbrook's hand. So, 15 turnovers in 2 games, and not to mention Russell Westbrook did lead the league in turnovers last season. I mean, as great as a stat stuffing machine as he is, averaging a triple-double the last 4 out of the last 5 seasons, yeah, it's all fine and dandy, but to see what he has to go through to get those triple doubles and the high of efficiency or what I should say, the high level of turnovers that he has, at a high rate, he turns the ball over at a high rate. I mean, I guess that's going to happen when you have the ball in your hand that much. But even with that being said, it's going to be hard to kind of see where Russell is going to be able to beat Russell at, because you want Russell Westbrook to be Russell Westbrook. That's the reason you brought him to your team. However, with those turnovers, with the fact that he's not a great shooter, with the fact that he needs to be able to drive the lane, but now you're gonna have an AD Dwight or an AD and DeAndre Jordan with a LeBron there that's gonna probably clog that paint. So gonna be keeping our eyes on the Lakers, but a team that has been doing well. And we're gonna be able to hit the panic button a little bit for teams that's not playing well in the preseason. Well, God darn it, I'm gonna hit the celebration button for a team that is playing well. How about my Chicago Bulls? How about them Bulls, baby? Man, seeing DeRozan, seeing Zach LaVine, seeing Lonzo Ball, seeing Alex Caruso, Javonte Green, Vucevic. I mean, the Bulls look good. That's good with a T at the end of that. The Bulls look good. I mean, do you see the route that they are beating these teams in, man? We see them go against the Cleveland Cavaliers, first preseason game, beating them 131-95. I mean, the Bulls just having their way. You see alley-oops being thrown for half court. You're seeing no-look passes. The great pick-and-roll game between whoever has the ball in their hand and Vucevic. I mean, the Bulls have some things to be happy for. Then they go beat the Pelicans 121-85. Another big blowout. Another big game for Zach LaVine, who I told people after playing with Team USA, after getting that Olympic field, playing with other great players like Damian Lillard, playing with other great players like Jason Tatum, like Devin Booker, and of course, the Durantula, the big man, Kevin Durant. Yeah, he's a big man. The man is over 7 feet. I don't want to hear no nonsense. Being able to play with players like that and seeing how winning is done was definitely a great thing for Zach LaVine. I am so excited for these Chicago Bulls. I'm already about to get my tickets. Make sure you guys get your vaccinations because they are not playing this year. Hey, you're not going to be able to get into these arenas unless you're showing negative tests or vaccination. So that's a conversation for another day. But, man, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to be going to a Bulls game this season, a couple of them. And while I'm at it, shout out to the Chicago Sky, led by Candace Parker, for making it to the WNBA Finals. Right now, it's a great time to be a basketball fan in the city of Chicago. And also in the NBA, the Brooklyn Nets are going to have to make a decision now because it seems like Kyrie understands that he won't be able to play at any home games due to the mandate passed by Brooklyn, New York, stating that, home team players that are unvaccinated will not be able to play at any home games due to the mandate of you having to be vaccinated to be in these arenas. That means Kyrie is subject to miss 41 home games, 41 games, as you get 41 home games and 41 games on the road. That's 41 games that a star player like Kyrie Irving is going to miss. Now, granted, even though the Brooklyn Nets still will look good even without Kyrie, considering the fact you have KD, considering the fact you do have James Harden and a nice list of veterans to go around those two, you're still missing 26.9 points, 6 assists, and 4.8 rebounds a game from Kyrie, which is what he averaged last season. I mean, Kyrie Irving is a stud in this league. He is a star. Now, it's just unfortunate that he has, as of late, become a distraction. To me personally, Kyrie ain't been right in the head since he left LeBron after winning the championship. I just don't see why you would ruin a good thing. But to each is his own. Kyrie wanted to run his own team, and then he gets run out of Boston because he can't find a way to play with Jason Tatum and those boys. And then now he's in Brooklyn. He's with his friend KD. He's with his friend James Harden. And yet, you still find a way to become a distraction to the team. Having those sabbaticals where you would just disappear from the. I mean, you can't just say, I'm not feeling this. I'm not going to work. That's not how it works. Everybody has a sick day. You had sick weeks where you were missing weeks at a time. You're saying you don't like the impact of you know the war on racism that we've been experiencing lately in America. And then in that same breath, you get seen at your sister's birthday party. Now, I understand that's family. If you're going to the birthday party, say that. But don't sit up here and throw a temper tantrum. I can't stand what's going on in this country. And then 2 minutes later, we see you partying, smiling, having a good time with no mask on, I might add. So Kyrie, you gotta stop becoming a distraction to the team. Now nobody is saying, hey, at least not me. Hey, if you don't want to take the vaccine, you don't want to take the vaccine. Make your statement and then gracefully bow out. Now, what it's gonna come down to is our Phoenix gonna say, just stay home. Don't even come play the away game. Just stay home because think about the rhythm that gets thrown off. Think about we have to be two totally different teams when Kyrie is in the lineup and when Kyrie is not in the lineup. We have to prepare differently. We have to run different sets because, yeah, there are not many players, if any player, that is like Kyrie Irving. Let's just keep it real. Kyrie Irving is a top 20 player in his league. Kyrie Irving, some might say, is a top 10 player in this league. So you're definitely going to be missing a big chunk of that big three when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets. But as I always say, we will keep our eyes on this situation, and we're going to see how the Brooklyn Nets are going to be going moving forward. And last but not least, I try to tell people, excuse me, to kind of watch what you say, watch what you email, watch what you put out in the universe, because all things that are done in the dark comes to the light. And that is what is happening with Coach John Gruden of the Las Vegas Raiders. Because after the loss to the Bears, shout out to the Bears, by the way, who was able to defeat the Raiders 20-9. Great outing for my Chicago Bears. An incident has occurred in which now they are questioning John Gruden on some statements or emails that he sent out back about 10 years ago concerning the football union, who at that time was ran by Damaris. And he made Damari Smith, or Damari Smith. Some people might say it look like his name is spelled Demaris, but it's probably Damari Smith, who at that time was president of the players union. And it just sucks, that you think you know somebody. You gotta remember, John Gruden has black players playing for him. He's been a coach in his league for years. Keyshawn Johnson is gone on record. I mean, he's even had a rant as of recently saying that John Gruden is not a good man, saying that he's always been this way. And about Damari Smith, he made some statements regarding physical features. I believe he said his lips were as big as Michelin tires, and and according to John Gruden, he said this that's what he calls people who lie. But I'm pretty sure you're not calling Caucasian people, saying that they have Michelin tires, the lips, indicating that black people have full lips. So it's just hurtful. We're in 2021, and I do realize this happened 10 years ago. It happened while he was not even a coach. I mean, he was employed with ESPN, and he was emailing Bruce Allen, who at that time was the president for the Washington football team. He was their team president, and he said these things about Damari Smith. He said things even about Commissioner Roger Goodell, as he did not like. At that time, that's when a lockout was happening in the NFL, and he didn't like the direction that the owners and the commissioner was going in, and the players union. He didn't like that at all. So he said some statements. Emailing a friend in confidence. In today's world, nothing is in confidence, especially through technology. Those things can be leaked. And right now, John Gruden is going through it. You even got some people questioning for NFL discipline action, even though he was technically not employed by the NFL when this situation happened. So it just sucks. I mean, I hope, we obviously know it's true. Let's hope for the for John Gruden's sake that he really is not racist, that maybe that was just out of frustration. Even though you shouldn't reach for racist comments out of frustration, that shouldn't be the first thing that pops in your head to say something negative, not just about me, but my culture, my people, So let's hope that, and even if he did have these feelings back in the day, people can change. I am one to always forgive people because I was not always the best person, in my life. And, if I didn't get second chances, I wouldn't be in a position where I am at now. So I am never quick to say that's how that person is and let's persecute him. Let's give people time to change, But this is just a lesson to all the young kids out there. Watch what you say. Watch what you type, because you never know who's watching you. And that's my show, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate y'all for being here, man. Had to push myself to get this one done. Neocon is in the book, so got 2 more shows left for this year, and we get ready to do it all over again next year, baby. And hopefully we have more newer shows under the belt. I'm ready to get the job done, ready to work, ready to start making more paper. Who can't relate to that? And hopefully within the next year or two, this podcast gets to take off and I get to reach a broader audience, and we get to actually have some guests and do some fun things, man. I got high hopes for this show, so I'm going to keep working and doing everything on my end to make sure that this show is a success. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys for coming through. Remember, you can catch me if you want to just talk personally. I'm on all social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I'm everywhere, man. Also, remember to watch this show or any other show that I put out on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. And, of course, thank you to Brother Jerry Rouse, also on the Rewind Sports 60 Roku channel. I appreciate all the love and the people that are helping me get to where I'm trying to get to. And I appreciate y'all, man. Hope y'all have a great, productive rest of the week. You know my motto: make sure you set those achievable goals. Make sure you write them down, build out a plan of how you're going to achieve them, and then you go out here and you execute, baby, because that's what winners do. Winners execute. I love y'all, man. Hope you guys continue to have a great rest of the week, and hope you guys continue to be great. And you already know the slogan, baby. We go. There's a bigger fight going on. There's a much bigger agenda than the streets. And I know sometimes it's hard to see that far in front of us, but we have to look past the illusions, look past the delusions of grandeur, and look at the bigger picture. We need to become better versions of ourselves each and every day. Fight for what you believe in. Because if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. We just getting started, baby. You guys know the slogan now. Hope you all have a great evening. And we go.